23.7 riders, 4 races, 2 rounds, but there can only be one champion. The 2025 MotoE World Championship is striding for the finish line, and it's still wide open. Misano is a classic and home to the closest finish of all time. Don't bet against that being better this weekend. The penultimate MotoE round ever is here. You join us from the Adriatic coast and the Rimini Riviera in Emilia-Romagna for the 6th round of the MotoE season at Misano in Italy. It is a titanic scrap, perhaps one of the best yet, just when you think someone is getting into their stride and rhythm and is going to pull clear, another twist in the MotoE road occurs. And now there's the prospect of going down in history as the last ever MotoE World Champion. The news broke on Thursday morning that the class won't continue beyond this season and will be on a hiatus, meaning that there's the desire to write your name in history. You join myself, Kiko Charles and Neil Morrison alongside me up here in commentary, and Elliot York down in pit lane for the penultimate MotoE qualifying session of the year and indeed ever. Before MotoE does have the plug pulled on it though, Neil, what are some of your favourite MotoE memories from over the last 6 years and 7 seasons?
Oh, well, there's too many to think of, Kiko. You took me really on the spot right there. If I had to go for one, it would have to be the finale of the 2021 series, where Egeter, Torres coming together on the last lap of the last race at turn 14, and yeah, controversy abounded.
And there might still be another twist in this year's tail, and you can see already in qualifying in Q1, Lorenzo Baldassarri and Jordi Torres had not been in Q1 all season, Neil, find themselves down there today right at the wrong time for Lorenzo Baldassarri, your joint championship leader. What a nightmare.
Yeah, what a nightmare around the track that is supposed to be not necessarily his own, but one that he has had great success at in years gone by. 2016 Moto2 race winner at this circuit was Lorenzo Baldassarri. Was always something of a track specialist when we came here back in his Moto2 days, and as you said, Kiko, tied for the championship lead after the first 5 rounds of this MotoE World Championship. 132 points has Baldassarri, as well as Mattia Casadei, and he really needs to make it work in this Q1 session.
And Lorenzo Baldassarri has yet to win in 2025, so he might well add his name, but he's going to have to do it the hard way this weekend, you feel. Welcome back to Maria Herrera. She's also down in Q1 and having just come back from Magny Cours and the World WCR event over there alongside the World SBK paddock. Jordi Torres was on the front row last time out, Neil. A real disaster for him as well. He's having to come to Q1 too.
Yeah, it's been a tough week, although he was on the front row last week, Kiko. A good qualifying for him. It was actually a disastrous couple of races. He was shuffled back to 9th in the first race in Barcelona, then crashed out at turn 5 in race 2, and that pretty much effectively ended Jordi Torres' hopes of winning this year's MotoE World Championship. Unfortunately, he has won it twice before. Yeah, you will be looking to come through this session as well as one of the stars of this year's rookie contingent.
Yes, Tibor Varga, what a surprise package he's turned out to be, and the fans have made the trip all the way from Debrecen in Hungary down here to Rimini in Italy for the San Marino GP, of course, this weekend. Tibor Varga, fantastic outing back in Austria, and of course grabbed that whole shot that we've spoken about so many times before. That was back in Hungary at turn 1, race 1. It didn't actually pan out the way that he would have liked to, but Tibor Varga maybe, just maybe, going to come through to try and cause a little bit of a stir. We are 15 seconds away from going green. You can see that we have Raffaele Fusco here on the Onguetta 658 Squadra Corsa team. It has been a very, very tricky year for those guys, and it's been all about consistency really further down the field. You can see the bikes are starting to head down towards pit lane exit, a long old pit lane exit here, and 10 minutes for MotoE Q1 is about to get underway. Before we do, it's only right that we ask a prediction from our expert downstairs in pit lane, Elliot York. Who are you choosing to move through to Q2?
Hello, good afternoon, gentlemen. Yes, I'm stood opposite Leonardo Baldassarri as things stand, and even at this moment, he doesn't look entirely comfortable on that bike. So, although I'm predicting him to go through, all is not seemingly going smoothly so far for Baldassarri, but I think it's going to be tough to beat Baldassarri in this session. I'd be very surprised if the number 7 didn't go through. It'd be a massive disappointment as well if he doesn't. And then you've got to put your money on Torres as well. Obviously, experience potentially paying in the next 10 minutes. What about you boys?
Neil, I'll let you go first.
Yeah, I mean, it's hard to look past those two, although Oscar Gutierrez, we know his capabilities here. He was the victor in the second race at this Misano World Circuit last year. So Gutierrez has good form around here, but we know that he's coming back from a very serious couple of injuries in the first part of the year. So I think Torres and Baldassarri is a good shot, El, although Gutierrez could well have a play as well.
I'm going to go Balda and Hosjuk. Jacobo Hosjuk coming off the back of P5 last time out in Barcelona. A fine ride from the Romanian, and actually graduated through Q1 last time out. So we've all gone different. Who's going to be right? We'll have to wait and see. The riders are already heading out on track. As you can see, some riders choosing to go out right away, others not so. But this is your big hitter, Lorenzo Baldassarri, of course a winner back here 9 years ago in MotoE for that first victory in the class. How times have changed, but a couple of podiums in World Supersport as well here, Neil. This is Lorenzo Baldassarri's home round. It doesn't get much more home round for the number 7, and he did not expect to find himself as joint championship leader going through Q1.
Yeah, it is something of a surprise to see Balda this far down. It will be interesting to maybe catch up with maybe some thoughts from his team at some point today, just to find out what is going on, because Baldassarri's record in races has been so consistent and impressive in 2025 so far. I keep saying this every weekend, Kiko. I'm surprised you haven't likened me to a broken record, but he's still yet to finish outside the top 6 in his rookie MotoE campaign. That is very impressive consistency. Hasn't quite managed to stand on the top step, and we saw maybe just a little bit of messiness on the final couple of laps in Barcelona last week, didn't we? In race 2 especially, when he was there in the victory fight, but just ended up, well, he copped a penalty for exceeding track limits, didn't he? Ended up down in 6th, and the points that he lost for that, you have to imagine, could be very costly come the end of this season. You
get the feeling that the win is within striking distance for Lorenzo Baldassarri. He's probably just got to go about his business in a slightly calmer way. That win will come, it can't be forced, but he leads the charge down towards turn 1. He's got Luca Bernardi, I think that he's just behind him, and then it is Tibor Eric Varga.
Yeah, thankfully it says Bernardi on the timing screens, not Alessandro Zacconi. We had a little bit of an issue with their transponders in the first race in Barcelona last week, and Kiko, I'm delighted to say that you've actually got your voice back, because there was so much screaming done on the Saturday in Barcelona from the 2 MotoE races. I mean, it was drama personified, wasn't it?
It really was, and the on-track action was very much the same, wasn't it, Neil? Not just the commentary box. Oh, you were talking about the track action, I didn't realise. It was good fun for sure. I did have a well, I won't give the name away of what it was, but I did have a lubrication at the end of Saturday and particularly Sunday's weekend back in Catalonia, and I think the Golden Nectar just helped me get back into tune, unfortunately for your ears.
Or fortunately, if you're me.
Oh, Tibor Eric Varga riding it like he stole it, coming out of Tramonto there. So Tibor Eric Varga asking for a whole load of power and almost finding out what you do when you demand it a little bit sharply. So Varga in the background there had a bit of a moment coming out of turn 10. Let's turn our attention back to qualifying and see who's going through. Lorenzo Baldassarri is bowled over down at turn 14. Well, he needed that like a kick in the teeth. Lorenzo Baldassarri, well, these MotoE bikes are heavy. It's a good job these riders train and do a load of weightlifting in the gym, because they're going to need it to pick up 200 kilos of Ducati V21L. That is for sure. But Lorenzo Baldassarri, I was just about to say, was on a flying lap here, and this would have been his banker. This was the banker, Neil. That was the one that couldn't fail.
Yeah, that's the one that potentially got away. Lorenzo Baldassarri facing a potentially disastrous Saturday on the back of a nasty qualifying. The good thing is that it was a fairly slow slip-off. It looks like there's fairly minimum damage done to his machine. It's now just about whether he can get it started again. You can see here breaking down into turn 14. This is such a common problems point on this Misano World Circuit, and the front just tips and skids away mid-turn. And Baldassarri, well, Elliott mentioned that he didn't quite look comfortable when he was on the bike, exited pit lane. He certainly didn't look comfortable there.
He didn't look comfortable off it either, that's for sure. But Balder gets it moving, so that's one positive. He will zip into pit lane. Wow, why did we cut away there? We should have really carried on and saw whether Lorenzo Baldassarri was just going to take a reconnaissance trip down pit lane there. But never mind, we will find out soon enough. I think he's carried on. Word from pit lane and Elliott York is that he's carried on. So Lorenzo Baldassarri is just going to have to grit his teeth and get on with this then. We're looking at the home hero, Luca Bernardi from San Marino, just coming through the fast up. This is Tibor Eric Varga as well, who's on a decent lap as it stands, a 1:42.046 to beat, and that is set by Jacopo Hosjuk. You can guarantee though, with less than 4 minutes on the clock, we are going to have that time beaten and bettered. We're coming through 15, don't go on the green at 16, coming through here. This is Oscar Gutierrez who's towing around Maria Herrera this time, and he's right behind Vargas, so there's a lot of red sectors. We'll take you through it. A 42.0 to beat. Bernardi does that and into the 41.4s. Gutierrez pushes Varga out. Herrera's moved up into third as well. 41.5 for Gutierrez. So a 1:41.540 is the time that everyone is aiming for. 4 thousandths of a second between Gutierrez and Herrera, Neil.
Yep, Jordi Torres is on a quick one as well. He was 8 tenths up through sector number 3, and Torres does go faster, a 40.9. The first rider in the 1:40s then in this session. Incidentally, the fastest time we've had so far today, a 40.4 from Matteo Ferrari in practice. So still some way to go. Just to go back to Baldassarri, I don't think he had the option of going into pit lane.
No.
He doesn't have time. He has to just keep on going, and hopefully there's minimum damage done to that machine. He'll be able to build himself in to this final run. Hopefully by the time he gets on his last lap, he'll be back in the zone.
It's all about trying to see what banker lap he can come up with, but Lorenzo Baldassarri, pressure on now. Jordi Torres and Jacopo Hosjuk it is, who are in 1 and 2 at the moment. It's a really very solid job done there by Jacopo Hosjuk, but we got to wait and see for everyone else. Who is it going to be that goes up towards the pointy end in that pole position shootout? The top 2 from this joining. 8 riders are already seeded through. Jordi Torres finds himself down in Q1 for the first time this year, and so far has it done. Jacopo Hosjuk looking to try and come through for the second round in succession, but we're looking at Luca Bernardi, who is trying to come through too, and Luca Bernardi yet to go into Q2 in 2025, and we're better to do it than at home at Misano. Coming through turn 16, the Misano corner, and out onto the curbs, down back across the straight and down across the line. Bernardi moves up into P2, and that is a 1:41.132, so there's a little bit of time there now between Bernardi and Hosjuk, a couple of tenths of a second. Jordi Torres, this is an incredible lap coming. If he can hold this to the line, we could be on for the fastest time of the weekend. Down to the finish line, Torres does a 1:40.1, and indeed, Neil, that is exactly what you were alluding to. It is the fastest time of the weekend so far, and that will be it for Jordi Torres across the park chicane.
Yeah, that should definitely be enough, you would imagine, for Jordi Torres to qualify into Q2. 9 tenths of a second advantage over P2, and that should certainly be enough. Torres was, what's that, 2 tenths of a second off the outright circuit record, so we could well see the lap record fall when Q2 comes around. Look at Lorenzo Baldassarri here on a decent lap time. He's not going to be taking Jordi Torres off top spot, but you know what, this might be good enough for 3rd or 4th in this session, provided he can nail that final turn. It looked pretty clean to me for the number 7, and he comes across the line. It was 5th for Baldassarri. Not bad in the circumstances.
It's a matter of damage limitation, you feel, for Lorenzo Baldassarri. He gets one more flying lap as well. So Baldassarri, each lap that he does here, he's just going to be growing in, building in confidence. But really, I'm very, very surprised that he finds himself out to where he is at the moment, given that accident. Oh, he was going in hot there at turn 4, but just gathered it up. I can tell you off camera, Alessio Finello has moved up into P2 and dismounted Luca Bernardi, so it's all going off at the top. Baldassarri's out of this, 8 tenths off, Neil.
Yeah, he was cruising there through turns 5 and 6. I think he knew after that moment into turn 4 that was all she wrote. So Lorenzo Baldassarri is looking at a spot, what, 13th on the grid at best? Disaster, you would have to say.
What a total nightmare for Lorenzo Baldassarri. This was not how he envisaged Friday evening at Misano as the joint championship leader. Mattia Casadei is going to be licking his lips back in pit lane. He'll be fancying some of this. I tell you, when we go green for Q2 in just a few minutes' time, this is Balder. We're still following him, but it's all over, I'm afraid, for Iron Boulder. He is going to find himself down on the 5th row provisionally. Well, not provisionally, at best.
Yeah, disastrous stuff for Lorenzo Baldassarri. So it goes without saying, this will be his worst qualifying performance of the year so far. He's been in Q2 every single session that we've had in 2025. And that run is going to come an end in probably the most unlikeliest of venues here at home. You can see that damage and scrapes to the right-hand side of his machine. He comes across the line shaking his head. He knows that this has been a Q1 session to forget, and he is going to have to mount a fairly considerable comeback tomorrow from the 5th row of the grid.
Tell you what though, Neil, good job by Jordi Torres, a second in his pocket, and Alessio Finello moving through into Q2 for the first time, I reckon, all season. I've got it all noted down here. Finello, yes, this is the first time that I think he moves through into Q2. It's not all over yet. If Luca Bernardi can muster up a phenomenal last sector, then this would be something pretty special. Through the last corner indeed, runs out to the curb, back across and diving for the line. Luca Bernardi, takes a checkered flag and takes 3rd place. Any other improvers? I just don't see it. Well, Varga's improved his lap time, Oki's moved up a place, but nothing is going to trouble Torres and Finello. It is the number 81 who moves on through with the 72. So the Aspar and Grassini team riders are going to go and join a heavy-hitting and headline-grabbing 8 riders who have already made it into the pole position shootout. But the big news, Lorenzo Baldassarri, he's not in a shootout, he's out altogether.
Yeah, dramatic session then. This Q1 qualifying at Misano. We've had so many epic races here, so many decisive races as well. This has often been the final race of the MotoE World Championship, but we still have one round to go after this weekend, after the flyaway races are done and dusted in mid-November in Portimao. It's going to be a fitting scene for the final MotoE race of the season. Final MotoE race for the foreseeable future as well, after it was confirmed yesterday that the series will be going on hiatus, as you previously mentioned in the broadcast, as we look back to the big decisive moment of this session.
Down in towards turn 14, it bumps away there. It is bumpy round here at Misano. Turn 1, turn 4, turn 14, 16. There's a lot of places where there's just a few bumps, and you could just see them there. A few bumps catching out Lorenzo Baldassarri. It's the first time he's been round Misano, of course, with the MotoE machine. He lost a lot of running this morning as well. We should mention that because of an accident out on the track. So Lorenzo Baldassarri, I think anyway, will come through, but it's probably going to be race 2 where he's going to be getting big points, because he's going to need race 1 just for some data acquisition, Neil.
Yeah, absolutely, and to kind of re-find that confidence again, I guess you could say as well. Of course, the MotoE do not have a session on Saturdays before they go racing. They have a siding lap, a warm-up lap now, which was introduced in Barcelona. It'll be here again this weekend, and then we go racing. And will be interesting to see just how it goes. But Jordi Torres can rest happily, knowing that he has made it safely into Q2.
He leads Alessio Finello into the Q2 session, as our graphics decide to have another day off. Never mind, we're used to that now. Let's roll them again. Let's see what the graphics lottery comes up with this time. Does it work? It does. Jordi Torres, Alessio Finello, Luca Bernardi, your top 3, but only the top 2 move through. Hosjuk, Lorenzo Baldassarri, that is 13th on the grid, the head of the 5th row, ahead of Gutierrez and Herrera, Tibor Eric Varga, Raffaele Fusco and Tommaso Occhi, completing your Q1 order. Next up, Q2, the battle for pole. Jordi Torres and Alessio Finello, they've booked their seats in that battle indeed. Don't go anywhere, it's coming up next. Welcome back then to qualifying in MotoE. Part 1 is done and dusted. We move on to Part 2 and Q2 at the San Marino GP, and we move on without Lorenzo Baldassarri. A total nightmare in Q1. He stays out, and it is actually Jordi Torres and Alessio Finello who move through into Q2. They join a big list of riders that have already moved through. Eric Granado, Mattia Casadei et al. But before we get on to that, Elliot York down to pit lane for some reaction. Down to you, mate.
Yeah, I'm with Lorenzo Baldassarri. Lorenzo, talk us through that session and how you're feeling after that. A small tip off and ultimately unable to get through Q1.
Yeah, for sure it's a shame because I thought we could find good speed, and then for Q2 we were strong, but nothing. Just in the first lap you have to be very careful because this morning I had a crash. Okay, this morning was cold, but this afternoon in the first lap you have to be very in control with the tires because it's easy to make a mistake. I was on the green and I was like not so pushing, but I was in the green on corner 10. I was not over pushing, just trying to keep the speed, increase the speed, and then I have a stupid crash in corner 13. I hit a bump and I crashed. So it's very easy with to make a mistake. For sure, was not the good thing to do today and tomorrow, but we need to do a great job tomorrow and try to come back.
How are you feeling pace-wise for tomorrow's races? Do you feel like you can come back and fight for top 6, maybe a podium?
Yeah, I feel strong. I think we improved something on the bike compared with this morning. Then I could not push because my handlebar was very close, so it was strange. And so I don't know, but I was feeling quite good, and I think tomorrow we can do a good comeback.
Thanks, Lorenzo. Good luck for tomorrow's races.
Thank you.
Sounds like problems there with the handlebar, as he said. Cheers, El. Cheers, Lorenzo, for your time after that session. Neil, it's not the home GP, but at least he's feeling a bit more comfortable. Sorry, it's not the home GP he dreamt of so far, but at least he is feeling comfortable and he can see a little bit of positivity. That's going to be crucial on Saturday. Yeah,
you do hope that is something that translates to his race speed tomorrow. He will have quite a few overtakes to make, will Baldassarri, but yeah, he'll certainly be hoping for a comeback special in tomorrow's 2 races. It will be a big old ask coming through from 13th on the grid, but we've seen stranger things happen in MotoE before, to be fair.
The other problem as well is he's so far downfield. Turn 1 and 2 here are real pinch points. You don't want to be muscled out and you don't want to be squeezed on the inside, for example, down at turn 2. He's going to have to tiptoe his way through the opening sector, isn't he?
Yeah, he is indeed. Yeah, very treacherous is the turn 1, turn 2 complex here at Misano. And yeah, Baldassarri, well, he's got a lot to think on, a lot to stew on with his intact GP squad tonight. As you can see, we can go on board with, this is Mattia Casadei, indeed, the joint championship leader as it stands. Casadei does have a fantastic record here, another home rider, of course, and he's been victorious at this venue in each of the last 3 seasons. Casadei, 3 victories around this Misano World Circuit, and he needs another one just to put a little bit of distance between himself and the rest and give himself a little bit of a buffer going into the final round.
The last thing he needs is a slip up now, particularly with Lorenzo Baldassarri down and out already in Q1. We do not want to see anyone obviously slipping up at Big Star, but this is a chance for Mattia Casadei. It was a chance not taken when Andrea Mantovani had his dip, and now Andrea Mantovani's come back into some kind of form. He's already here and he's right on screen, 4th in practice. Mantovani's now out of this. He's only 23 adrift.
Yeah, he really did need to re-find some of that magic that we saw earlier in the season. Mantovani so strong in the first 2 runs of the year at Le Mans and Assen, but really dropped away since then. And qualifying was something of a nightmare for him over the last couple of races. 12th, 15th and 12th he's been qualified on the grid for the past 3 GPs in Austria, Hungary and Barcelona.
And for the first time this year, he finds himself in Q2 directly from practice. As I said, just when you think someone starts to steal a march and build some kind of momentum, it's not how it unfolds. We are green already in MotoE Q2, and in this one, well, there's some names. Hector Garza, your reigning world champion, Andrea Mantovani, Matteo Ferrari, Kevin Zanoni, Nicola Spinelli, Mattia Casadei, Eric Granado, your double winner from Barcelona, Alessandro Zacconi, Alessio Finello and Jordi Torres. Those two have just joined and come up through Q1.
Yeah, and if practice held earlier today over lunchtime was anything to go by, we're going to see a ridiculously competitive qualifying session here, Kiko. We had the top 6 names in practice separated by 0.106 of a second, just over a tenth of a second, covering 6 names. So it was ferociously tight and competitive. And someone's down, I think we can hear in our headsets.
Surely
Kiko.
they
the yellow
are.
flags are out. Someone's down at turn 2. Is that around turn 4, turn 5 potentially? Looks as though it is Casadei.
It's Casadei. Can you believe this? Mattia Casadei has crashed on his outlap. Well, this is a new low for the number 40. Mattia Casadei. Has he done it on his own? It's at turn 6. He's not even leaning over. Mattia Casadei has binned it already.
Goodness.
We are going to have our joint championship leaders, Neil, starting on the 4th and the 5th row of the grid.
Yeah, as you can see, there is no saving that bike. That one is out of commission for the rest of this session. So Casadei is going to be starting 10th on the grid, just 3 places ahead of the rider who is joint top championship with him. That is a massive missed opportunity for the Italian.
He crashed out on the last lap at Assen in race 1. He crashed out on the first lap in Austria from the lead both times in race 1. He crashed out of the lead battle in race 1 last time out in Barcelona. But I don't think neither of us, pit lane expert Elliot York, the team, even Mattia Casadei himself would have thought that Q2 with his main championship rival, I don't think he would have imagined it. Ferrari goes on deep as well at turn 4 and scrubs that lap out as well. But Mattia Casadei had an open goal and he scored an own goal.
He really did. Does anyone want to win this MotoE World Championship in 2025?
I'm going to go out in a minute.
Yeah. Anyone got a spare set of leathers?
Yeah, extra large if you don't mind. They won't have any trouble warming the tyres up with me on it, that's for sure. Before we get an actual lap time in, I was about to go down to pit lane, not to put leathers on, but to ask Elliot York for his prediction. El, down to you.
What a time to throw down, gents. Yeah, drama down here. I'm stood by LCR and the team are obviously in discussion, so I'm hoping that Mattia returns back to pit lane. I can try grab a word. Wishful thinking, I'm sure. But I reckon Eric Granado might stick it on pole to cheer the team up a little bit.
Yeah, I think Granado is a good shout. Matteo Ferrari was the fastest name in practice, so I think he might be a shout. And just really what we saw with Casadei echoed what Lorenzo Baldassarri was telling Elliot just a couple of minutes ago. How easy it is, how critical it is on the front end at this track, and how easy it is to make a mistake. And boy, was that something of a prophecy.
A massive prophecy. I am going to go Andrea Mantovani because I think now it's an open goal that surely Andrea Mantovani is going to take up the baton for. He goes top provisionally, but that's only a 41.297. That thing is bucking and weaving everywhere down in towards turn 1, but Andrea Mantovani gets it stopped. Across the line comes Garzo, who was up in 2nd after practice. He crosses the line 6th as it stands. Zacconi goes 5th as well. Zacconi was down in 6th earlier on this afternoon, so Zacconi's had decent pace right the way through. But Andrea Mantovani, as we approach the halfway distance in this session, leads the way from Kevin Zanoni and Eric Granado up in the top 3 already. Banker lap set, that's the important thing. That was what Mattia Casadei needed to do and couldn't.
Yeah. As we see Zacconi coming through turn number 6, we've got another replay here of Casadei's crash, and such a strange one. It went so early, just he wasn't even leant over anywhere close to full lean. We're on board with him here, and wow, that went away extremely early, and you can see there the left handlebar ripped off. There was no chance of Casadei remounting and bringing that back to the pits.
And I tell you what, Neil, I don't think Casadei expected that at all. He wasn't out of shape, he wasn't even pushing. Disaster for Mattia Casadei. El, down to you very quickly.
Yeah, just while Casadei was on picture, the IRTA guys came over to the LCR and said confirmation they can't get that bike going again. It's being taken to the safety zone. So Casadei's session, as we expected, is over.
Disaster, absolute disaster. And you can guarantee that across the next 2 rounds and 4 races, we are going to have more, but we just didn't expect it in qualifying. Coming through the final corner then, asking for the power. Matteo Ferrari is looking very strong indeed here. Mantovani's improved his time to a 40.4. Matteo Ferrari goes provisional pole though on a 40.428, just 300s quicker than his fellow countryman Andrea Mantovani. So it's Matteo Ferrari, your double winner from 6 years ago around this place. He's looking very, very good indeed. Already the number 11, Eric Granado just off track there. Nicolas Spinelli just slotting in behind Matteo Ferrari. It's a busy old racetrack, Misano. We pick up Jordi Torres. This is going to be his first flying lap of this session. He's waited till the second half of this session to go out, and at the moment 8/10 off Neil. That's not going to be good enough to mount a front row challenge.
Yeah, it isn't at this particular moment, but Torres does know that his fastest time from Q1 would currently be good enough for pole position. Torres was down in the low 40s, wasn't he, I think, in Q1. So, in fact, he was in the 39s, if I'm not mistaken. So Torres then comes across the line, and there is more to come from the number 81.
5th. Good. Oh, Jordi Torres sideways on. Alessio Finello 6th. That's a very, very strong performance from the number 72. So the Filo Grassini MotoE team having a very, very good home round, it seems. Ferrari provisional pole at the moment, and Finello has just moved up onto the second row at this rider's expense. We pick up Zacconi as he works his way down towards Cavone. This is a very, very fast part of the circuit, the fastest corner in MotoE, right out to the curb. Zacconi just 1/10 off Neil as he comes up to sector 3.
Yeah, critical point on this track. He's got a good gauge just up ahead in Hector Garzo. This could well be a pole position lap time coming in from Alessandro Zacconi. He is set to benefit the most from some of the drama that we've seen with Baldassarri and Casadei in qualifying so far, because he's currently 3rd in the championship, just 10 points back off the summit.
Alessandro Zacconi, when push comes to shove, is he going to make hay whilst the sun shines to the line? What's Zacconi got? Provisional pole, 40.311. Alessandro Zacconi moves the goalpost just a little bit more. For everybody else, it is an Italian 1, 2, 3 on that front row. It's an Italian 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 in the championship standing. So perhaps not a total surprise here at Misano. We pick up Finello again. This is down towards turn 14. He's got Jordi Torres as a marker. Alessio Finello 1.1 off, middle of that 3rd row as it stands through turn 15. You've got to be so careful through there, and then down towards turn 16, the Misano corner for the completion of this, what will be a personal best lap for Finello. Where does this put him? Does it move him up? It doesn't, but he does improve his time.
Yeah, we need to look at Mantovani, Spinelli and Granado all on fast laps, and here they are. Well, here is Granado anyway, coming through Curvoni. You can see he's 0.2 of a second underneath the fastest time through split number 2. He's got Nicola Spinelli just up ahead. Spinelli, such a dark horse in this year's championship. He's ghosted up into 4th in the championship standings, just 18 points back off the summit. He has 2 podiums in the last 3 outings as well. In some way, a bit of a dark horse for a late championship play.
He and Lorenzo Baldassarri have scored points in every single race so far this season. Consistency is key in MotoE. Both Spinelli and Granado drive for the line. A bit of slipstream perhaps for Granado. What happens? It's Granado goes pole at the moment at 140.030, nearly in the 39s, Neil. That's quite impressive round here. Mantovani has gone 2nd, Zacconi is 3rd, Spinelli worked his way up to 4th. This is Zacconi now, looking to take back that pole. Can't quite get there. Finishes 2nd and just 26 thousandths of a second. Split the top 2 with a minute remaining.
Hector Garzo not quite able to replicate his speed from earlier in the day in practice, and Jordi Torres not able to replicate his speed from just 10 minutes ago in Q1. You can see he's not quite looking super fast and comfortable through turns 13 and 14 there. Torres 0.5 seconds off, but this lap could well put him, where on the provisional second row off the grid, I think.
And if he keeps it all tidy, that's a big if with Jordi Torres making those kind of shapes out there on track through 16. He's driving to the line. He will get one more lap after this. So this is not the end of it if Jordi Torres can't do anything, but he moves up to 6th place. That's the provisional second row. Now we resume this battle. Spinelli versus Granado and Andrea Mantovani with a lot of room to build into here. Andrea Mantovani was my shout for pole here, and he's looking very, very good indeed, coming through these fast right-handers. Granado is following Spinelli. Let's get them through this third sector point. Spinelli is 2/10 off. Mantovani has eaten into that gap and has got a red crash helmet through the third sector. But are the two ahead of him now not reference points? Are they holding him up? Through turn 16 we come. Spinelli leads Granado, leads Mantovani. This is the pole shootout, I remind you. Spinelli looking to come up to the front row. If he can, he can't. He goes fourth. And Andrea Mantovani is indeed hampered by Eric Granado ahead of him to take third, but it is still a front row for the home hero. This is Hector Garzo coming to the line, half a second off at the line, moves up to the second row of the grid off the third row. So that is P6 for the number one, and he gets it stopped at turn 1. But for the second round in succession, it is Eric Granado who saves the day for the LCRE team, and the Brazilian who hurled himself back in to title contention with that double in Barcelona is now looking like he's the rider who's built some momentum for the final flurry of action in MotoE in 2025.
Yeah, just 23 points back of the championship summit, and with the two title leaders having a real nightmare here on Friday at Misano, Granado must be rubbing his hands together as we can hear Jordi Torres' bike coming across the rumble strip on the exit of turn 16, and Torres manages to jump up one position there, demoting Hector Garzo back to the third row of the grid in 7th. So decent stuff that from Jordi Torres, considering he came through Q1. But Eric Granado is the man of the moment in MotoE currently. He is the form rider, as Kiko said, coming here on the back of a double victory. It was his first victory in race 1 in Barcelona since 2023. It was actually his first double victory in this MotoE category, going all the way back to Austria in 2022.
It's been a while since we've had 3 winners, one rider winning 3 races in consecutive fashion. It was Mattia Casadei in 2023. So it's been a while, but Eric Granado is staring down the barrel, and he's made it a bit easy for him on Friday afternoon. He's definitely given himself a head start by bagging pole here at Misano. Look at those MotoE bikes slide their way through Cavone at turn 11. This is Alessandro Zacconi returning to that front row, and what a time to come good, Neil.
Yeah, it really is a good time to come good. His first front row start of the season since the opening round in Le Mans when he was on pole position. And Zacconi, another rider like Granado, who really will fancy his chances tomorrow in front of a home crowd at a track that has bore some success for him in years gone by. He was on the podium in race 1 of last year's MotoE doubleheader here in Misano, just behind Mattia Casadei. And Zacconi, well, you mentioned earlier, along with Baldassarri, well, sorry, it wasn't him actually, it was another rider, but he has been in the points in every single race, bar 1 so far this season. So Zacconi has been model consistent pro. Second place will be good for him, but Eric Granado taking the plaudits yet again. Yeah,
fantastic stuff from Eric Granado. You can't knock a rider who's come back from what has been a very, very tricky injury. Of course, he knows Misano so well as well. And Eric Granado really looking to see if he can convert that pole again. How impressive would that be if he can back-to-back pole and back-to-back double? Because a double here would really put him in the driving seat with just 2 races remaining. It sounds weird, Neil, but the title could be wrapped up this weekend. I just don't think it's going to be.
Yeah, I don't think it is going to be. There would have to be something absolutely miraculous to happen to Mattia Casadei to win both races, and Lorenzo Baldassarri to double score in both. I just don't see that happening after what has happened today. So it looks as though we're going to Portimao in November with the championship still open, although let's not get ahead of ourselves.
Yeah, you said we need something miraculous. It is MotoE. Anything can happen, including what we have just seen. I don't think anyone saw that one coming. You can see there your sector times. Andrea Mantovani not far off pole at all. He really does make hay whilst the sun shines. Those front rows he's had already, Neil. I'm looking back towards Le Mans earlier this year, and Assen. He's been able to at least convert strong qualifyings, 4th to 2nd back at Le Mans. And of course 2nd to P1 and P2 at Assen, and that facial expression says it all as we take a look back here. Mattia Casadei, what have you done?
What were you doing? I'm sure he is asking himself that question, and has been asking himself that question for the past 10 minutes after that dramatic moment at the start of Q2. Took out one of the major pole favourites, and here we go on board with the championship leader again.
Just lays it down, it just folds away from him.
And crashes like that will really sap at your confidence, Kiko. He's going to be going into race 1 tomorrow, I think, trying to rebuild his confidence. It's not looking good.
He's basically done no laps this afternoon, Neil. I tell you what, though, that smile says it all. Andrea Mantovani looks 10 years younger. L, down to you. P3 for Andrea Mantovani.
Andrea, after a couple more difficult rounds, I bet it feels good to be back on the front row, especially here in Misano.
Yes, many weekends I don't go fast or only fast in the race, but to start in the rear is very difficult with 6 laps. But now I'm the front, the first grid, and I'm very happy because my team will do a fantastic job. We start this morning with a fantastic setup and improve my ride lap by lap. And thank you. I'm very happy. Viva la vita. Ciao.
Great job, well done.
Thank you.
I think he said thanks. I'm not sure if he was thanking Elliot York down there in pit lane or the team overall, but it's a front row from Mantovani, and when he's on form, he's a weapon and a half out there on a track.
And off the track as well. Viva la vita, what a phrase. Could be the quote of the weekend. Andrea Mantovani, always good value when he's in Parc Ferme with Elliot, as Kiko said, on the back of a couple of difficult rounds for him. Great to see him back at the sharp end. Great to see Alessandro Zacconi back in the front row, the first time since the first round of this season, and he's with L.
Alessandro back on the front row, and importantly as well, your two main title rivals having a bit of a nightmare qualifying. How are you feeling?
Well, be back on Parc Ferme it's nice because from 3 rounds with the new front tire, I struggle a bit. I missed some feelings, so I was not so competitive. I was fast, but for me it was difficult. Now we find more or less the way. In Barcelona we struggle a bit. I did some mistake on start, but anyway we did a good recovery. Here I feel quite good from this morning. For sure it's not easy because we have to manage a lot this new tire, but we did a good job, very close from the pole position. I tried to do my best, but just 0.02, something like this. But anyway, front row is super important for us. So, how you say, the first 2 riders in the championship start a bit in the rear. We know that is not a big problem from Mattia because he's able to recover a lot, and also I think Balda. But anyway, start in front is always a good thing, and we will try to enjoy tomorrow.
Top job. Good luck for tomorrow's races.
Thank you very much. Ciao.
As you correctly said, Neil, he's back on the front row for the first time since his pole at Le Mans, and he is a rider that knows that this is a huge opportunity for the title aspirations that he has.
Yeah, by the signs of it, he has made some progress with the setting of that bike. Hasn't quite been there for the last 3 rounds, but Zacconi sounds very happy, very confident with the work done by his Aruba Cloud MotoE team today.
But it is Eric Granado who once again delivers the goods to take pole. He is very much in title contention.
Eric, the perfect weekend in Barcelona and now pole position in Misano. You must be pretty happy and confident of more victories potentially tomorrow.
Yes, I'm so happy. We're doing a great job. I'm feeling so good on the bike. today the qualifying was a little bit moving. You know, I had some mistakes. You know, the track is difficult condition now with the hot temperature, but finally we did it. I'm so happy. I want to say thank you to my team. I had a big crash this morning, so they rebuilt the bike and the bike was perfect. So this is amazing to have this feeling again, like Barcelona. So I'm ready for both races. For sure, it will be tight races. You know, here everyone is so close. So I will do my best and let's see what happens.
Great job. Good luck for tomorrow.
Valeu.
Eric Granado back on pole, back-to-back poles. His teammate decided to toss it up the street this afternoon. Granado learned from that mistake this morning, and despite it moving around under him in this replay, looks comfortable out there, looks confident, Neil.
Yeah, he really does. He has refound his mojo after such a difficult start to the year. Granado is absolutely back to his best here, and can he take that long-awaited first title in the MotoE category? He's come so close in many occasions before. His title challenge heartbreakingly ended here 2 years ago when he crashed out in race 1, but he's looking to get himself back into title contention with 2 good races tomorrow. Can he do it from his second pole position of the year?
The form guide says yes. Our double winner from Barcelona, Eric Granado, leads the charge once again here at Misano. Zacconi and Mantovani joining him on the front row ahead of Spinelli and Ferrari. Jordi Torres there in 6th. But the big news is that Mattia Casadei is down on the head of the 4th row, and on the head of the 5th row, Lorenzo Baldassarri, our joint championship leaders. MotoE in 2025 is going out with a massive bang. This is going to go all the way to Portimao, and you really don't want to miss it. And whatever happens this weekend, of course, it is unthinkable. Races from 12 and 4 o'clock tomorrow and Saturday in the company of myself, Kiko Giles, Neil Morrison and Elliot York down in pit lane. But until then, enjoy your Sprint Saturday, starting tomorrow at 8:40 with Moto3 FP2. Goodbye.